Hi, how are you? Welcome to Monday morning. This is Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Now, Reinventing the Tattoo Network. This is the Tattoo Weekly number 20. We do this every Monday where Gregory from Pigments and Reinventing, Jake Meeks from the Fireside Tattoo Network, and me, I'm Gabe Ripley from TattooNow and Reinventing. We go over some of the highlights of the last week, some of the upcoming events that are happening in the near future, and then we have some discussions. Sometimes we have special guests. I think we have, I think Jane's coming up in a couple months. Or a month or two. Anyways, we have some special guests sometimes, and actually, if you stick around, I believe we've got a very, very special guest hopping on around 11:45, but we don't want to make any promises that we can't keep. So anyways, that's just a little teaser to stay tuned. Not sure exactly where you're watching, but oh, sorry, I got ahead of my script. Welcome to Guy Aitchison's community. This is a place for tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious to join in these live streams, to join the group draws. We have a group Zoom drawing groups. I don't know if I said that again. Where artists are encouraged to beam in and draw. We have them on Sundays and Tuesdays and other various times. There's also art jams, there's discussion panels, there's a wide variety of awesome tattoo content, kind of like a tattoo network of reality tattoo shows without that much drama. It's great. And so I'm not sure where you're beaming in from. We are currently streaming live on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn, I believe, even. And you might be listening to the replays in any of those spots or the podcast. But yeah, either way, you could always catch Reinventing's latest and greatest information at www.reinventingthetattoo.com. It will always have the latest and greatest links out to the courses, to the event schedules right there on the homepage. And as well as Reinventing 24/7. It's, like I said, like we're a network, and if it's 2 o'clock in the morning and you're wondering what to occupy your time and keep you awake, or if you want to recommend any of these programs to your friend and you're not quite exactly sure how or when, all you have to do is, again, send them to the homepage of Reinventing, and then there's a little watch live, and there's a watch replays, Reinventing 24/7. It'll beam you down, and it's got 5 channels of replays. There's drawing group replays, there's art jam replays, there's interviews with people who study the archaeology of tattoos, like they get mummies and stuff, chemists. It's amazing the wealth of knowledge that we've been beaming out. It's crazy. Again, we're beaming out nearly 5 days a week with awesome tattooer hosts, and yeah, therefore we have tons of great content. You can also find us in the app stores. Do a search for Reinventing the Tattoo. You might see one that says social, depending on when you're watching this. You want to get the latest one is Reinventing the Tattoo. It's in the educational sections. We're focused on the courses and whatnot, and we'll talk a little bit more about all that in the near future. But yes, you can always find the Reinventing the Tattoo app. It will also include links to all of the free shows that are free, thanks to our sponsors. Yes, those weekly shows, they include the Reinventing drawing groups. We're currently doing them on Sundays and Thursdays. On Mondays at 11 a.m. we have the Tattoo Weekly, which is the show that you're actually watching. Every Monday at 9 p.m. for almost 2 years now, Guy Aitchison's been leading Monday night exercises with Reinventing the Tattoo subscribers. And if you're an apprentice or a tattooer, then you should be subscribing, actually. And today is the last day to join the new trimester. It's a new format that Reinventing is going through. So all of the tattooers are going through the course together and taking the classes together. So they're all on the same page. It's going to be pretty awesome. Anyways, that's later. 9 o'clock at night on Mondays is the exclusive exercise. Let's see. Wednesdays, I'm doing the TattooNow show. Thursdays is a tattoo collecting podcast. We do have upcoming events that Reinventing the Tattoo is setting up at. Let's see. We were just at Red Tree. You could actually go to the site and see all the replays from the stage in the event. Derb was an amazing host. Other upcoming shows, let's see, April 11th to the 14th is Inspiring.Tours. That is a small event. It's limited to 5 people, 5 artists, 4 days, 4 days at a bed and breakfast in New Hampshire. And it's already sold out. Nick Baxter and Sean Barber are the teachers. They'll be painting 2 days, each of them doing their painting seminar and then collaborative tattoo. So if you're interested in getting a tattoo from Nick Baxter and Sean Barber in April, I think it'll actually be April 13th. Yeah, we're looking for a client. So that would be, I mean, obviously, if you know Nick's work and Sean's work, they're both brilliant, and it'll be really fun to see what they come up with. May 20th to the 22nd, we're setting up a big reinventing room over at Hell City in Columbus, Ohio, hellcity.com, and also setting up a bunch of the seminars and whatnot. It's going to be one hell of a time, pardon the pun. July 29th to the 31st is the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational in Akron, Ohio with Tony Urbanic. We'll also be setting up there. We'll be doing seminars and whatnot. Oh shit, before that is June 10th to the, oh shit, what is it? June 10th to the 12th is Ink Mania in Florida. And again, we'll be setting up a reinventing room. We have, I believe, Phil Holt and Stefano doing seminars, and then Guy is going to beam in and do the art jam thing that Sunday afternoon. Franklin Acha is doing a seminar. There's a couple other people doing really cool things down there. So that's Ink Mania, inkmania.com, June 10th to the 12th. And then Richmond, I think, is going to be the next one. I think we're punting Paradise this year, for better or worse. So October 21st to the 23rd is the Richmond Tattoo Convention that Jesse Smith puts on. Somewhere in there is another Hell City in Arizona. I think that's in August, and I believe we'll be heading out there too. I got to update my my schedule here clearly. I do want to thank all of our sponsors. I'm presuming this is working in all the different places. Okay, this is brought to you by Reinventing the Tattoo. That's Aitchison.com. He's the founder. If you go to Aitchison.com, you can find his artwork, his prints. He does still tattoo, so if you're interested in getting tattooed, you can send him an email, but he is very picky about his clients. I'm not sure. Well, you know what? The best bet is to get onto his Instagram, because sometimes if he has openings, he'll put them up there. But he's been tattooing like 20, almost 30 years, I think, at this point, maybe even over. I don't know. It's amazing. Anyways, Aitchison.com. His work speaks for itself. He's a reason why we are all here sharing with each other, inspiring each other. And yeah, it's great. And there's a ton of different courses. So not only does Reinventing have the new subscription, and again, we're going to talk about this new trimester experience. It's going to be out of control. But there's also like 15 other tattooers who have courses up there. There's business classes, there's script classes, there's Andre Malcolm does an awesome koi sleeve design class. Lady Sarah has a really cool, you know, lines and feelings. Talks about her process, which is producing amazing work. Lady Sarah is awesome. Okay, so yeah, that's reinventingthetattoo.com. Rawpigments.co is an ink company from California, and they're tapping right into the raw pigments. Check it out, rawpigments.co. They've got a lot of videos, and Lauren actually does a lot of interviews with people. Worldtattooevents.com is the largest, most comprehensive tattoo convention website that exists. And I know personally, because about 15 years ago, 10 years ago, I tried to copy it. I was like, oh, look at all this information. It's got like every tattoo convention that exists, all the posters, all the vital information. You know, I could have that on TattooNow. I'll talk about TattooNow. I'm a computer geek. I do technology. And I'm not in the habit of biting people, but on the other hand, if there's a database of information out there of conventions, I was going to try to, well, put it on my site. But found out after 3 days that Alex has an insatiable appetite for updating information. And so instead of trying to recreate that, I just send everybody to worldtattooevents.com. And yeah, he's actually in Europe these days. I think he's going up to, he had a convention last weekend. He'll be beaming in with Lauren to do some live convention coverage. I think that might be this weekend. I don't know. All this stuff is happening. It's kind of crazy. It's going really fast. DLize Pro is known as Dermalize Worldwide. Thanks to international copyright stuff. They're known as DLize Pro in the United States. It's a healing wrap that is designed to breathe. So if you're still wrapping people up with like saran wrap, just remember it's designed specifically not to breathe. And you know, check out the videos for Dermalize. They've got tons of them. Lots of great artists use them. And again, I've used it. It's designed to, like I said, it's a product specifically designed for healing process. And Alex DePace is at the helm. He's a badass tattooer. I already talked about TattooNow just a little bit. Like I said, I'm a computer geek, and I think I'm actually all booked up, but I love to work with people. I have a lot of product-y type things. If you go to tattoonow.com, then yeah, you'll be able to check that out. So wrapping this up, whew. Thank you for joining the intro. Please let us know in any of the places that you're at, in the chat rooms or the comments, where you're beaming in from. Please, this is a perfect time. Well, almost perfect time. The very start was the perfect time, I guess, but now is the next best perfect time to tag any of your tattoo artist or tattoo collector friends, or maybe even somebody that's just curious about tattoos. If you have kind words, please send them to all of the review places and to the app review especially the new app, because we had like 75 5 stars on the old app, but now we're moving over to a new app and I have to start over. The podcast is pretty great. We love producing that. It's audio versions of this, but again, so hit those likes on the right places. Please send us your constructive criticism or your ideas to management@reinventingthetattoo.com, or if you're interested in sponsoring Reinventing and being right off at the beginning of 5 shows every week, forever, or as long as the internet exists. I mean, and I'm not saying it's going to last forever. Who the fuck knows what's going to happen? But yeah, it's a great spot to reach tattooers. And yeah, okay. So usually this is where I would hop off into the background, but
why don't we go ahead and roll the clip and let Jake in and get
perfect.
started.
I'm still on camera.
How's it going, Jake? Good to see you.
What's up, guys? How are you? Sorry, I was late.
Not late at all. We're just
Hey there.
started today.
Yeah, well, good deal. Good deal. How was everyone's weekend?
Awesome. Happy
it was
Valentine's
great.
Day to you guys as well.
Yeah, same to you.
Yeah, cheers. Happy Valentine's. I remembered when I woke up at like 4:30 in the morning, but then when my wife came downstairs, I forgot. I'm like, you don't get credit for remembering if it's too early.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I was having a jamming time this weekend. We're launching the new trimester of Reinventing, and it's been fun to get it together. And so I got back from the Reinventing Live over at Red Tree, with that you were there, of course. And well, I had my car issues, so I got back, a day late and $1 short. But then I've been like, okay, now we're relaunching the Reinventing. So as of tomorrow, classes are going to open up. So there's been a great rush and a great response for the new Reinventing semester. Everyone's going to be taking it at the same time. We'll talk about it later. Yeah, well, we have at 11:45. We'll go over it a little bit more, and I believe we'll have a couple, or we might have a special guest coming in.
Oh, nice.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, that's really cool. I love that idea of. And Gabe, you and I were on a phone call. I don't know, yesterday, day before, just catching up and talking about kind of the value of. There's a lot of great information. Reinventing the Tattoo, the original book. I had a spiral bound version of it years ago. It was really fantastic on its own. But going through and actually experiencing it with other people and having real life exercises to go around, you end up forming a lot of relationships that will probably last a long. We've already seen that happen with these platforms. People who meet through these platforms, and then the next thing you know, they're like, "Oh yeah, we've been splitting booths together for the last 6 months at the shows." And it's cool to see how platforms like this can pull folks together. And definitely with Guy at the helm and you guys having actual exercises and critiques and going through it at the same time, that'll be beneficial for so many people.
Yeah, I mean, I admit it. Like, I don't know, 3 months ago, or between 3 months ago and 2 months ago, I was thinking in my head, maybe we could just fucking simplify this shit. Like we're getting kind of hairy here with the organization. Like 8 weeks ago, I was like, no one's really kind of done it this way before. So like trying to put together the tech, to do this. And Guy has some really good amazing ideas. He wants everyone's going to be kind of going through cycles. So, if somebody joins in, in a second trimester, the exercises and everything are going to coincide together. And so people, there's 3 times a year where people can join. And then, but again, everyone's kind of going to be taking it together. And I mean, as we were talking about it, the difference between, I keep hearing in my head all the people who have been impacted by Guy in the book, and I just know how they read it. It's like, some people will read it from start to finish and then kind of go back and pick apart. Some people just pick apart. They get too much ADD, but they still get a lot out of it, but to have it going through in order with Guy, and when you look at the 48 weeks, it's 48 weeks of all these awesome lessons, and it really organizes all of the content of the books, the guest chapters, the weekly exercises. But again, we're talking about this 11:45. How are you doing? How are you doing, Jake? What's going on over there in Fireside Land?
Actually, I was late because I was filming a podcast this morning with our mutual friend Jesse Smith and and his buddy Jason, and we're doing a series on NFTs and what they mean to the tattoo community, what the potential is. And I think I'm going to approach it a little differently. Don't hold me to this, but I have a handful of people lined up from artists who are launching their own NFTs to technologists to, anyone that I can get that has a unique perspective. And I'm going to try to do it more as a documentary style rather than an individual episode with a person. I'd like to tackle a topic and then get all these perspectives in that one episode on that topic. That's a lot for me to bite off because I'm not a master editor or anything, and I can already feel the overwhelm coming when I dump all this footage into Premiere and try to organize it that way. But
hey Jake, you know what I'll tell you is if you have the vision, lay it out like you'd stencil your tattoo, and then follow to it.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. Just
gives yourself it's like whether or not, but you have so many good, oh my gosh, we spoke to Jesse a little bit about NFTs. I am really looking forward to whatever you put together.
Yeah. Well, thanks. I'm excited about it. I think we've got Franklin Sinatra lined up as well. I've reached out to Megan Jean Morris. I haven't heard back from her yet, but a handful of people who are launching these things. Baxter, I haven't talked to yet, but I know he'll do one with me because he's launching one. So there's a handful of people on the artist side, and then I'm really looking forward to the technologists. The one thing is, back when I first started hearing about NFTs, and I first heard them called virtual atoms, VATOMs, before NFT was a popular term, and I remember even this was a year or two ago, and them saying the technology we're really kind of working out with these smart contracts and blockchain and proving ownership, but it really is going to take the creatives to figure out what to do with it. And they're all the guys that are nerding out and girls who are nerding out on the technology are all really seem to be open about the fact that they don't really know what the potential is, where it could go, but this is the time for the creatives the artists to step in and figure out how they're going to use this. And of course, it's not just for artists, but they're we're kind of the early ones adopting the technology. So
sure, it's pretty cool. The thoughts of being able to use it as copyright keys is pretty cool. So if you want, I'm going to be hosting a small panel on NFTs. It's called NFT WTF Q&A. But if you want to, if there's anything in particular, I'm sure there'll be a little bit of crossover, both characters and topics, but you're more than welcome to use it in a better. I'm not going to be editing this shit into documentary by any stretch of the imagination.
Gotcha. I may borrow some of that from you if it seems like it would fit in the puzzle. Yeah. That's cool.
Like I said, if you send me a topic or two, I can make sure that it does. And this is one of the things that was with Lauren and you had Adam, the videographer there. I have scripts. When we create these events, I have two different types of scripts. One that's an over arc of a season of a whole year, right? And then sometimes I'll just try to squish that down into one event. But to the documentary kind of style shit, we can film all this stuff at an event. We have all the artists and stuff there. We can.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it next time.
Yeah.
Well, when is the next event that we'll all?
I think Hell City.
The next event will all be at
Hell City. Columbus is where we'll all be.
And, there we go. Let's do it.
We need to talk to Derb about making sure that we end up in the same room too. I haven't mentioned anything to him about that. I'll be tattooing. I'm going to tattoo 2 of the days. I already got them booked, and I'm going to try to block out Sunday for podcasting and for whatever fun stuff we should actually
do the Tattoo Weekly on that Sunday rather than Monday, because it's going to be a little bit tough for us to get out.
Yeah, and I apologize, Lauren, for not actually scheduling that at Red Tree. It was a great idea. We should, and we ran other shows there.
Yeah.
Sorry,
it's okay.
But we'll put that in the format. The whole thing is kind of turning into a, it turns into its own little event, right? And I've been seeing this with some of the other podcasts. I don't know if anybody listens to The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe. They're scientists who are skeptical. They require evidence. Anyways. they do like they do the real road shows. So they're gonna be in Boston like next week or next month, and it's pretty cool. So it's I don't know. So yeah, so at Hell City, we have a reinventing room. So
Nice.
if you wanted to do your podcast and whatnot, we'll have space there.
Sweet.
As well as hosting at the seminars where I'm putting together the schedule, and Derb's I'm coordinating with Derb as we speak. So yeah, we'll make sure that the tattoo booths that are upstairs,
Cool.
or wherever they are definitely next to each other, because that would be cool. And I think Fawn, we'll get next to Fawn too.
Great.
It's going to be like a tech row.
Little podcast alley. Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I'm looking.
Another thing that we're going to be doing, Jake, that I don't know if you really found out about, but we had the idea on going into Hell City to do like a tattoo tour booth, so to speak. So we blacked out the windows and Jordan Rookus's booth, blacked them out, set up a nice polarizing light, and basically just took tours of everyone's body. And at one point, Bob walks in and we're like, "Have you done this recently at all?" And he said no. And I thought that was just something
you don't have
cool.
any you don't have any of those pictures to fire up, do you?
I might in the background. Give me a second on that, but
that was amazing.
It's cool because as artists, you guys collect, but no one really is, showing off your work. We got Derb. We didn't get you, Gabe, but I got to get the geek.
But I will.
Yeah,
I'm definitely down.
But yeah, it was a really fun experience, and I was honestly laughing my butt off because it was a situation I haven't not been in a long time where I'm in a room, it's dark, there's a light, I've got a camera, and everyone's just in their underwear. Like happy too, because they're like, "Look at this, I got this," and it's such a good vibe to talk about where you've been and your journey. So we'll be doing that in Hell City as well.
You got like Derb and who else? You got a lot of people.
Pretty much mostly everyone there. Jason.
Amazing.
Jordan,
awesome.
Fawn, Jeremy Brown.
Awesome.
Nice.
So we'll have to do that for you too. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
just to show
I'm always looking for a reason to strip down to my underwear at a show anyway, so it's perfect. I'm less likely to get arrested if you guys ask me to.
Yeah, so I'll see what I have in the background.
Right. Yeah.
Wait until you go to Hell City. You've been to Hell City.
Oh yeah,
right. We know the cops there, I guess.
Yeah. It's funny. When you guys were in Red Tree, I guess just before I was in.
We haven't talked
Austin.
about it.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, how was that?
Texas convention. It was a lot of fun. It was great. It was a decent turnout. It wasn't packed. I loved how Marcy really spread the floor out. Our booths were massive. Awesome. It was so nice, man. Like we were all four. I split a booth. There were four of us that that just did a big double booth, and all four of us had cots out. We're working on people laying down and had plenty of room. It was awesome. It was really nice. But one thing that's funny, I was getting all of my stuff together for Columbus for Hell City, and I had to update my bloodborne pathogens and update my first aid and all that because I haven't traveled because of COVID. I haven't traveled in a couple of years, and I really only update those things for the conventions. So I had to go through and retake the tests and get all my stuff updated and show my licenses and my certificates and get it all over to Derb or to his folks. And then I was like, oh, you know what? I haven't done any of this stuff for Austin.
Oh shit.
Nothing. They don't require any of it. It's just so funny from state to state. Like not a single health inspector, in Austin, no bloodborne pathogens, no first aid, no tattoo license required. Nothing,
freedom.
It's funny because I'm about to book Golden State, and it's like $250 just for the health inspection fee.
Oh wow!
On top of it's like state to state is huge, $250 plus an $80 practitioner fee per artist.
Wow!
So but then that's like you have your own health inspector at your disposal. Like I've got my gloves. Like you're going to be spending some time with that person if you're paying $250.
Yeah, that's incredible. And and you I mean that's not nickel and diming. That's significant. Booths were $250 back when I first started doing conventions. Much less the fee. It gets to a point where it just doesn't make sense for a tattooer to travel. There's just no way, even if they tattoo the entire time. If you're talking about walk up tattoos and stuff like that, there's no way you could generate any income off of it as you.
I mean, it's LA, so if you're charging $250 an hour.
Yeah, maybe so.
It is. That would be a cool thing for you guys to do at some point, is to kind of analyze some of the top conventions, maybe top 25 or 50 in the US.
Oh, that'd be great to do
and just kind of see where's the norm. I know Russ had done a poll recently on the hourly rate and stuff like that.
Oh, money wise, yeah.
Yeah,
I
so
don't
like
know.
just to see like an average trip to California will cost you as an artist today 3,500 or
Yeah. I'd be interested
there's
in
definitely a number.
in the comparison. Like the numbers are cool. I'm definitely down with numbers and stuff. But like just
And to
having
know.
like the just doing reviews on fucking top 25. Yeah, and I don't mean to say top 25, but just say the our favorite whatever. Fuck it, top 25.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah.
number 26.
I gotta say though, Hell City has always really resonated for me as
Yeah,
up there,
absolutely.
just with the experience and the people.
I mean,
combined.
Dirt really has an eye for detail that very few, if no other, tattoo convention promoters do. Our other conventions are great. I'm really missing out. Everyone was talking about Detroit, and I'm like, fucking, I love Detroit. That's one of my favorite shows, and I've been missing that for the last couple of years. But
Yeah.
it's
I
not my
just
card
got
this year.
I just was checking my email last night, and I got an invitation to the New York tattoo convention that was supposed to be in the next couple of months, and they've moved it to the fall.
You
Yeah,
should
they
go,
moved it
Jake.
over. They moved it over
I'd like
Richmond.
to.
Oh, it's over Richmond, yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I'd say. But I think it's the same weekend.
And-
When I saw the dates, I was like, that might be Richmond dates.
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
That's
It was the same dates that we had. So
yeah, for Paradise. Yeah.
I saw that
yeah.
right when I saw that trifecta smash me in the face as soon as I saw the dates, but
Yeah, that's too bad because
Yeah.
that New York convention looks like it is stacked with international tattooers, like high level international tattooers.
I will be going to that one. So I would have
you
loved to
will
see
be?
you guys in Richmond.
Yeah, yeah. I would say if it were anything about Richmond, I would make it happen. But I just
That's
you
it.
know,
That's in the top list as well, I would say.
yeah. I want to be, and I think that we're going to help.
well, it
Jesse
hasn't
this year.
happened yet. I mean, I'm definitely down with everybody supporting and going, right? But it's hasn't happened yet. So.
Yeah, I think we're going to help Jesse out this year too with the workshops the day that he does the day before. I forget the name of the event.
Academy, Richmond Academy.
Richmond Academy. Yeah, I think that Scott and I are going to help with filming, recording, and all that. So I'll definitely be at Richmond instead. But I hate to miss that. It looks like a great show, and I haven't been to New York in forever. It's in Brooklyn, I think, isn't it?
I think so. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh well.
Well, Stefano's doing his show in over the summer, I believe, July.
Where is it?
Empire State.
The Empire State one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's usually in July.
Yeah. I'd like to do another New York show. I don't do a lot in the summer. You guys know we've got the boat over in Arkansas. So most of our summer weekends I like to spend at the lake and doing family stuff. So I try not to do a lot of tattoo travel during the summer. I try to do spring and fall.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. The tattoos and tattoo conventions will always be there.
Do you guys want to see? I have
maybe not always.
some photos from last weekend of Bob. Do you guys want to?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm gonna check out the so what's happening in the chat rooms.
Sure.
Yeah, I've been kind of responding on the Fireside chat.
Yeah, it's always popping in there.
Yeah.
Go. Are you guys seeing this clear?
Oh yeah. Nice.
Yeah, sweet.
This is what
See
is
how
that?
I
Is it
navigate?
Is it Paul Booth's work?
Yeah, down through there. He's got a lot of Paul Booth's work actually.
Yeah. That's cool. I remember seeing that stuff in magazines back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just see where I'm going.
And that's like completely in the wild too, right? Like he wasn't prepared. That's fucking Ralph Nonviolent. He did that off the map. I was there when he did that.
Yeah, I mean,
Sick.
this is definitely unprepared, and it was like
Zoom in.
else. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. I saw Ralph's talk. Yeah, it's really nice. Ralph's talk at the Portland event that you guys put on, I don't know, 6 or 8 years ago, the worldwide tattoo event. Ralph did a seminar there that was really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's sick.
Yeah,
he did the some like his paintings are fucking like his paintings are they don't have the limitations of skin, and obviously he's pushing skin to its limits, but look at that. Damn.
Yeah.
Do you keep up with him much anymore?
With Ralph a little bit, not as much as I used to though. I'd like to.
Yeah,
I need to.
Yeah, that's nice. Who did this one this time?
I don't remember who did this one.
Okay, so now do we have to guess? So put who you think did this in the chat room, and who are we guessing?
Man, that's so good.
Yeah,
it is so fucking good.
Yeah, I don't know.
I want to say
some of those little swirls and stuff remind me of Josh Duffy, but I don't believe that he did that.
Yeah, close.
Oh, do you know who did it?
No, I don't. I'm thinking
Okay.
a European for some reason. I'm thinking like
Yeah.
Fat or maybe Victor Portugal, but not the music. It's the music. It's cool. I don't know
Yeah.
who did it. Who did it in the chat room? Who knows who did this? Paul
We'll
Booth did
find
the
out.
back. That's correct.
Yeah, that's right. Kyle says,
And
looks
he
like
has some
Paul
from
in the
Robert
back.
Hernandez as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
We'll get
and I think he got this 4 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. I think he said 4
Wow,
years ago.
that feels like a fucking lifetime ago.
DC. All right, so I'll zoom in.
Oh, is it Johnny Cash? Yeah, Man in Black.
Yeah.
Fucking sick.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It's
Oh,
cool.
did-
It was cool to have this whole experience for him.
Yeah. Did he talk about the tattoo? Yeah, you were saying he was
We were
talking about the tattoos.
Yep,
Yeah.
the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So we'll have to share that with you guys at some point, so you can kind of hear his story.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we'll have to edit these up too, right? To get the little bloop, so and so is such and such.
Right.
That Hernandez piece is fucking sick ass. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm presuming that's Hernandez on the left leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is cool. I love that idea of doing that at at conventions, just getting a nice video photo area and sharing some of the stories. We always talk about how the tattoo, the way that it settles in and heals, and the quality of the tattoo is really only part of the value. It's so much of it is tied to the experience of getting the tattoo and the person who tattooed you. And I know other folks who are better at video than we are have done documentaries and things like this, and done YouTube videos that where famous people talk about their tattoos, or famous artists talk about their influences and all that. But that doesn't mean we can't do it too.
No. Well, this is out of control. So this is who did this? Renshaw did this maybe like fucking 20 years ago? Maybe?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he speaks 23 years ago. He speaks so highly of him. It's so cool.
You know what? I think I remember this piece in particular in magazines when Renshaw was in everything back then. I bet this is the piece that was in I didn't know Bob Tyrrell back then, but I bet this is the piece that was in magazines. Sure. Yeah.
It was cool to get to hear his perspective on a lot of this too, just kind of reliving some of the moments and explaining it in a really nice.
Oh yeah,
comfortable
the
setting.
video is going to be pretty out of control. Is that another Hernandez piece maybe?
So how are you planning to put this out, Lauren? The video from this stuff?
We didn't really make a plan at all.
Oh, okay.
We just it was honestly something that we thought of right before going. We really wanted to get, but
yeah, super cool.
We could get people to sign up ahead of time at Hell City too.
yeah, that'd be a good idea. I know there's going to be a lot of people there.
Yeah,
shit ton of collectors.
Yeah,
Just
it's cool because we make it no matter who you are, you can feel comfortable just going in and getting something really cool. And I know artists will appreciate it as well.
Oh yeah, I mean the video's got to be fucking brilliant documentation. I mean this is it's historical. I mean, this is Bob Tyrrell's bodysuit fucking on video with him telling the stories. That
kind of stuff too is so especially if you had people choose their tattoos with the best stories on the front end, and instead of going through their entire bodysuits, they just went through 2 or 3 of their favorites. That would probably make the editing a little easier too.
It would make the editing a little easier. Yes.
Yeah. Always thinking in terms of how I'm going to put in less effort on the editing side.
That's funny. I'm always thinking of documenting things, and I don't even care if anybody ever watches it. I just want it on video.
Yeah.
I remember when he was showing that off at one of the bars here, and it was a pretty funny scene because it was like a half a dozen dudes like staring at Bob with his trousers down, and when I looked up, I could see like the whole the regular bar crew being like, "What are they all doing?"
Well, this happens a lot apparently.
Right.
Yep.
So these are the 15 that I have right now. There's more,
Awesome.
of course,
Well,
you didn't see.
there's videos and
So before we move on, I was going to show a little video too that we made of my experience, which I thought was awesome.
Oh, sick.
Have you guys seen that already?
I've not.
Okay, so I'm going to share with you. It's a vertical format, so if it's hard to see, just sorry about that.
Oh yeah.
That
Super
was
cool.
kind of summed it all up real quick.
Yeah. Was that
What?
Bob's guitar playing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
So it was a
Yeah.
little loud, and then I'm thinking, you know what? He loves it loud.
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
Oh
That
yeah,
piece,
for sure.
that piece is awesome. How long did that skull take him to tattoo?
Well, it was in a probably would have taken a lot less time if it wasn't like a learning experience at the same time,
Right.
seminar setting.
Yeah.
Although it's
Yeah.
Bob, maybe not that much less.
We started, kind of introducing things to everybody that was in the seminar around 3 and wrapped up maybe around midnight or so.
Okay. Huh.
I was super tired, but great experience.
Yeah.
We did do
yeah.
it all, got it all on video. So for it's like $100, $150, you can go and watch the whole thing yourself again and relive it.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
It's
Yeah.
a full Bob experience. He was amazing, man. Everyone fucking, it was awesome to catch up with him again in person. And
Yeah.
just to see how he interacts with people and shares and his energy,
Yeah.
it's fucking great.
What were there any other highlights with any other folks? Anything that stands out from the weekend? If you were giving me
Tons of stuff. I really, really enjoyed meeting Jesse and watching him speak and like listening to him. So that was cool. Gabe, with all the events that you had on. Tony Urbanic gifted me a machine, and I was pretty cool because I'm from Wisconsin, so it was a PBR machine.
Oh, very nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, so you won't
that's
be able to
cool.
see it very well.
That's cool. Let's get
Yeah.
PBR on the coils. Nice.
Yeah, so I really had a fun time meeting Tony and hanging out, and also Conan Lee was surprisingly very fun to talk to, along with his partner Sarah. It was super cool. Along with Derb giving the whole tour of his, the whole tour of True Tubes was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool. Renee did a back piece outline in like 4 hours.
Oh gosh,
I saw on her site the kind of layout and stencil. It looks like it was a beautiful layout. Really nice.
Yeah.
Renee's a
fucking
great artist,
great.
and she really
Uh-huh.
she helps set the mood just phenomenally well. I know it's kind of like a lot on someone to be filmed, to be having people pass through, to have someone talking, but she really did a great job at rolling through and start to finish, just kept going.
I was
She's
so
gone through
impressed
some-
with her. I was so impressed with her at Paradise. She had the most difficult seminar by far. It was a plein air painting, so we had, and of course, we're trying to document everything there. And poor Fawn was doing her best in the drizzle and rain and sloped mud to set up a tripod and get audio and not let her camera equipment get damaged. And Renee, she handled it like a champ. She did. She taught as best she could out in the rain. We finally gave up on that. Went and did a plein air painting from inside, looking out a window. And but man, everyone made great paintings. She was like you said, she set the mood so well, where there was no she was helpful, but it wasn't like intimidating. Where for people who had never done plein air before and never done watercolor before, I was really impressed with how she held it together in a difficult environment. So.
Yeah, definitely.
And we had her, she's probably our last interview. Actually, we haven't been doing interviews lately, but we did an interview with her on our channel at Paradise. And I think it went pretty well. Actually, I haven't gone back and watched it, but I think it was a good one.
Did she tell the story about when she broke an asshole's hand at a tattoo convention?
No.
It's an amazing story. I mean, it's a horrible story, but an amazing story. Oh yeah, intentionally. He put his hands where they didn't belong.
Oh.
And she the story is somewhere on one of the needle jig interviews. She did like a full length interview.
Okay.
And part of the transition of how things are getting better, and more equal, she taught a couple of people that if you fuck with the wrong person, then you're gonna get your hand broken.
She's an artist with a legacy, that's for sure. Yeah, once you meet her, you'll know. So yeah, that was a cool thing, and I didn't watch the whole plein air seminar like through my end while you guys did it, but I definitely will now.
Yeah. I don't know how well. I can't remember if Fawn's recording came through okay, or if they ended up posting it. Gabe,
somebody asked for it actually. I hate to remember this on air, but
yeah,
we should talk about that,
know.
Jake, so we can see what we got. And if
sure,
not,
that would be cool just to see the atmosphere and to see. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Like I said, it was a challenging one to film, and Fawn was there doing everything.
Yeah, some people paid for it though, and they were asking for it, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Like I said, either we need to, if the video isn't good, then we just need to give them the dough back. So
we will see a lot of these artists too in Hell City, so I think we should maybe figure out from the reinventing community who will be there and share amongst each other so we can get some cool things rolling. I know Renee. I don't know if Ananda is going up there as well.
No.
Yeah.
So yeah, I heard
It'll be fun. Like I said, I mean, I imagine that as we get more organized and promote and more events happen, we could really start getting more fun people. Well, and again, part of the fun part about having the reinventing class all together, again, it'll be over 100 people. I don't know how many will actually show up on the Mondays, but presuming even if half of them do, really, again, to your point, Jake, create those bonds. I mean, we know what they could do over 2 days or 3 days. To spend 40 weeks with somebody, or online is and discussion. Anyways,
yeah. What do we know about the plan is to stream at Hell City, right? To live stream a lot of the stuff. So do you know much about? I've never tried to do anything live at that venue. I assume they have.
Oh yeah, we have
hardline internet and all that.
We've streamed live, we've recorded, we've done it all there.
Okay.
We started off. Cool. I think I was at the second Hell City. It's either second or the third. We brought a fucking giant tiki mask. Okay, so this is when I was working for Disney World and the Epcot Center, and a touchscreen kiosk was like fucking $20,000, and or for the equipment, maybe 15,000 for the equipment and like 10,000 or 15,000 for the programming. And my buddy Sean, he was a fucking maniac, still kind of maniac. He was a fucking maniac then, and I didn't even know what was going on. I was programming this cool touchscreen and it had portfolios. You could get all on the phone now, but this was, I don't know, it's got to have been like 15 years ago. I don't know how old Hell City is, but the first time they went out, they had a great time. So this was probably 19 years ago then. So anyways, he bakes this fucking 8-foot tall, massive tiki mask with its mouth open, and the screen is the mouth of the tiki mask. And it looked cool. Like it was like fiberglass. It took him like a month and a half for him and the Dark Side crew to make it. But so then we wheeled in this big mask. It looked like a little Disney exhibit, right? One of those computery things, and that was fun, man. So yeah, Hell City's always been a fucking amazing time. It's I'm very excited to get back there again finally.
Yeah, me too. I'm working on at least one of the pieces I'm working on is going to be pretty cool. So I was just thinking, if streaming is an option, I may try to stream one of my tattoos. I haven't done that in a while. Maybe I could do a start to finish. We've been doing a little live streaming occasionally from my studio, but I typically only stream about 30 minutes to an hour of the tattoo and not the entire thing, just because I don't want to bother my client with cameras around them the entire time. But it might be cool at Hell City. I've got a couple of one-shot pieces I'm going to do that we.
And you know what, too, Jake? Another cool thing that Derb told us is that Paul Booth is going to guest spot at Red Tree right after Hell City.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, the thing with the setup is Fawn had a nice boom arm setup, and it was like you forgot about the camera altogether.
Yeah.
And you just had that little mic, that little lapel right there, and it was almost like it wasn't even happening.
Yeah, that's nice. I've got to get that set up a little better at my studio. I'm still using C-stands and arms that come off of C-stands, so everywhere you turn, there's something that's going to poke you or jab you.
If we happen to do some sort of tech panel, I would bring in Fawn 100%. Her setup in her booth. I don't know how it'd be like when they travel and stuff, but it was on point. Oh,
nice. Yeah. I'd like to revisit that. We had tried to do kind of a podcast roundtable at Paradise BYOB, and it turned into more of I was hoping it would be more of like a gear and setup kind of, technical stuff, but it ended up being a little more about why we podcast and relationships with guests, which was fun as well. But I'd like to do something that was a little more.
Maybe we could do a little segment on the Tattoo Weekly or something like that when we're all there, so we can show our mobile stuff that we actually could bring with us to somewhere.
Yeah.
Rather than our home setup is going to definitely be a lot more, a lot better. But when you're moving and
right.
Yeah.
I mean, and at least especially for the reinventing community, just having, it really should be in a course. And I mean, they could be videos, right? Like we could do discussing about the equipment, or maybe you guys could do discussing about the equipment. I'm like, I don't know, I got a camera, I plug it in and it works, and sometimes it doesn't, and I hit it and then it works.
Yeah.
But like a nice, do the rig rundowns or whatever.
Rig rundown, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
It would be fun to do one for the home and then do one for the travel, and then it's amazing because everyone's got. Like I was saying, I guess everyone's kind of deferred to Sony's. What do you got, Jake?
I use Sony's. I don't know if not for any particular reason. It's funny. I thought because I wanted to go mirrorless because I wanted smaller body cameras to make it easier to podcast out of a backpack. But what I found using higher quality equipment, the size of the camera is completely irrelevant because the lenses are all the same size. It's like it doesn't matter if you have a small mirrorless body if the lens is that big. So I think it's just, it was a sales pitch that got me that now I realize was completely useless. It's just like, doesn't matter if my camera's this big or this big.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you said we may have a guest. It's 10 till we're running low on time.
Yeah. Is anybody in the waiting room? I just sent a text over.
Nope, not yet.
No.
Okay.
Well, you know what? Let me show off. We have a couple events coming up that this week that we could talk about while we see.
We do, and I think a new one that just kind of got scheduled recently with another Live in the Castro coming up too.
Oh, awesome! And that's coming up Wednesday. Is that the
Wednesday, February 16th? So there's a lot going on. I love all these events, but if I do forget, I'll say it's easy to just go to the website, scroll down, and find the calendar of what's going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let me see what else. I've got this fella Marcus Lund, who's down in Florida. He's coming on Wednesday. I do actually have some of his tattoos here.
Cool.
So we can show off some tattoos. This would be the part in the clip where we're like, here. Okay, share sound. So this is Marcus Lund, and I found him through Thea Duskin. And he'll be on Wednesday. He's got a pretty cool shop down, like I said, in Central Florida.
Yeah.
Kind of near the Dolly Museum.
Yeah. That's really nice. Do you know if this is healed or fresh?
I think that one looks healed to me.
Yeah, it looks healed.
Maybe the gear at the bottom might be the only thing that wasn't.
Yeah.
Here, let me got a couple more here. Got another video and then some photos. He well, I don't want to talk too much about some of his plans, but he'll be able to disclose any of his schemes and plans on Wednesday if he wants to. But I have been catching up with him for a while about doing a pretty cool event. And he's wicked, and obviously he's clearly wicked artsy, and he's from one of the northern European countries.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's really nice. Nice and soft, painterly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I got a little slideshow of pictures here too. It's fun. We have this new setup where we ask for people's topics and their portfolios in advance.
And
Isn't
we do have someone that's just joined us as well. So if we want to roll through here, and this is, I really like, I could see how Thea would recommend, because definitely, definitely painterly, awesome.
Very soft.
So yeah, he'll be on Wednesday at noon. He's also a classic paintery kind of a guy. But cool. Let's chat with. You know what? I'm gonna hop on Vimeo, or I'm gonna hop on the Facebook and share it around.
All right.
All right. Hey, Guy. I didn't know who our guest was going to be.
Hey, Guy. How's it going?
Oh, going good, Lauren. How you doing?
Doing pretty well today. I'm excited for this week. Happy Valentine's Day to you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's this is kind of a big day, and yeah, for those listening, I know that they've probably been talking about this prior to my joining, but it's our big launch tomorrow, and of course, I've been doing this Reinventing the Tattoo thing for 25 odd years. But this is the first time that we've tried to actually make a real course out of it, like a weekly lesson plan and everything like that. And I think the thing that was the most exciting for me, and I know that some of the other people like Sandy that were working on the nuts and bolts of this saw this too, is just we got so much material. And I think part of the problem that we had before is people would they'd get a subscription, they'd open it up, and they're like, where do I even begin? And so this gives them a place to begin. So we've really sort of broken it down. And I tried to think about my own experience coming up in tattooing and what was useful to me in the early stages, and thinking in terms of just trying to unroll all these ideas in a way that would empower people as quickly and as soon as possible to get them doing better tattoos right away. And so that's been this adventure of going through all this material, and now we get to actually start putting it in front of people in this weekly lesson plan format and working with them. I'm just very excited about that.
Yeah, that's really exciting, and I feel your pain of trying to figure out what, how to look back and determine, what's important. How do we distill this thing down to something that's useful and quickly implementable and things like that. I've found it, and as you guys have grown over the last year or so, your platform, creating content becomes a little bit of a hindrance because it gets to where it's pretty easy just to get on camera and start talking about something and create something new, but then curating that content and making it useful and for people who come in at, from any different point, it's tough to give them like a clear avenue of like, hey, start here, relax, take a deep breath. We're going to make this as easy as possible.
Putting in a context that fits the individual. Yeah. And that's, I feel like that's this last year and a half, especially since we've been doing the live Monday night exercises, that's been a chance to try things. And in real time, we get to see how they work, how people react. We get to see the following week if they did killer drawings from it, or if they got thrown off track, and say, okay, well, this is a really good exercise. Maybe this one we won't do again, or I'll twist it differently next time. So there's been this very interactive aspect to teaching, which I could only compare to when I used to do seminars at conventions all the time. And, I'd be out there once a month giving a seminar, and I have a room full of people. And there were definitely those days where I felt the material connecting really well, and I would have to take notes, and kind of keep track. And often I would go and rewrite my seminar completely after an experience like that. Like, oh yeah, notice how everyone started asking questions after I brought this idea up. And then of course, the other thing that I got out of teaching those live seminars at conventions was just the hands-on aspect. Because I started doing that with a lot of them. As partway through the session, I'd hand out a worksheet, say, okay, let's do a drawing now. And here are your elements. This is the challenge we'll put in front of you. These are the things we're going to try to avoid. And let's start with some thumbnails. And I'd go around and I'd look at their thumbnails and give them feedback. And so we've got the Zoom equivalent of that, which in some ways is better because it's not just me looking at the thumbnails. The whole group is able to see where everybody is starting at, and the kind of stumbling that happens in the beginning. And they're like, okay, it's not just me. This is a tricky puzzle, and I can see how people are trying different things and trying to find the answers. So it's not just me, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you get all this great feedback, not just me, obviously, because one of the other things about this is we've got this great group, and it's been a small and steady group up until now. And we've got some that are diehards. They're there every week. A few of them, like Jason and Ricardo, are hosting their own drawing groups. And so we're getting a lot of very qualified feedback from people besides me, people that really know the terminology and have a strong sense of, not to get into branding here, but we've got this Reinventing the Tattoo kind of set of artistic principles that I've been trying to put front and center. People are asking, well, how can I do a better tattoo? What machine should I use? Well, any good machine, but let's learn to draw properly first. Mm-hmm. And, the idea of strong tattoo design is, once you start looking at it, it becomes almost an infinite problem. And so I tried to narrow down that problem because you can't just say, well, I want to get better. We all want to get better. I'm 33 years in, I want to get better. But if you can look at what you're doing and say, okay, I specifically can see that I want to improve this, my work should look cleaner, or, I wish it was bolder looking, or I wish when I looked at it from across the street, it had more impact. So based on those things, which we go over in our trimesterly critique, our first one's going to be on the 21st. Based on these things, we are able to help participants narrow down their goals and figure out what to focus on in the short term. And so it's all short-term goals. That's what we talk about first, what we're going to do this next 16-week cycle. And I have my own short-term goals, things like, kind of an ongoing one is I'm trying to clarify how I isolate my black, because I want everything I do to look great when you're seeing it this small. You know, when you're seeing a thumbnail in social media, that it looks powerful. You know, I would like to achieve that. And so that's one of my ongoing goals. So we identify goals for each person. And then over the course of our exercises, we work towards those goals. So the growth process becomes something that you can do deliberately, not just saying, okay, I suck, I want to get better. But you can say, okay, my goals for right now are, you know, I'm going to, you know, get rid of all those little fuzzy marks, because we talked about clarity. And so I'm going to focus on that. Or I'm going to be better about my use of line weight, because now that I've set that goal and I've read all the material and I'm looking at some really great examples, I can see how rather than making every line fat, I should select which ones to make thick, which ones to make medium, which ones to make light, and I can make a much more readable design. So that's where we're at right now. We're going to be having our critique on the end of our first week in session, the first week of the trimester. We're going to have our big group critique, and we're going to go over goals. And from there, we're going to have our 16 weeks in our first trimester, where we go over everything: lighting, flow and fit, contrast, pause-neg relationships, color, depth of field. We've got all kinds of aspects of design that we go over. And with each one, we've got a live exercise. We've got some recorded exercises from previous sessions. We've got the chapters themselves that come with Reinventing the Tattoo, the original book, which has been rewritten and expanded many times. We've got a tattoo challenge every week. If you're a working tattooer and you want to take the ideas that we're talking about and put them into use in a tattoo this week, there'll be some suggestions for that and a place to post it. Or if you want to work towards that tattoo challenge and you want to post some drawings for comment before actually doing it, there's a place to do that. And then at the very end of every week, we've got a quiz. And one of the things that we're doing differently now is if you complete the 48-week course, you're actually going to get a certificate of completion. And that's one of the reasons we have a quiz at the end of each week, so we can make sure that you're moving through all the subject matter and digesting it. And I like to believe that if you've been to the Monday night exercises, if you've been focusing on your goals, and if you've been taking in most of the material, because every week we're dumping a lot of material on. And if you're a working tattooer, you might have to narrow down and say, okay, I'm going to focus on the chapters in just one of these exercises. It's for some people, it's going to be hard to do everything, but there's enough there that if you dive into it and spend a few hours a week on it, by the end of that 48-week course, there should be no doubt that you have figured out what you want to improve about your work, been able to specifically look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm improving this, this, and this, and know what the steps are in order to actually get there. So at the end of that year, you're going to see a difference.
I mean, if you don't, it's on you.
right.
I mean, there's no question about it. It's like one of those things, like you, like having watched, artists, and it happens time and time again. I can't believe I'm in this over 20 years, and I'm still surprised. I'm like, oh my God, they're getting really good. And watching the artists do the Monday night exercise, again, they're deliberate. It's, we've talked about it. It's kind of like going to the dojo or going to the gym. Like, people exercise their body, they exercise their brains. You're helping people exercise their art. It's amazing.
Well, a couple of Go ahead. I was going to say a couple of points on that. Kind of what I see as the benefit of these of a group learning together. One thing that's kind of stuck with me, a quote from Nelson Shanks, probably 30 years ago, when he was starting the studio in Caminati, was he wants the student that started on Monday to be available to help the student who started on Friday, because they're so often closer to the problem than the instructor is. And I think there's a lot of value to that. You were just talking about trying to remember what you struggled with early in your tattoo career. Well, the chances of you really remembering that vividly are pretty slim. That was 30 something years ago, but someone who's just experienced it or just recently solved that problem can probably communicate with the person who's struggling, maybe better than you can. And then also that accountability, I think, of saying you're going to do something before next week, and knowing that you said it out loud to someone who's putting in the work as well, and it being more likely to actually put the work in, and see it through. I've been part of a group called Strategic Coach for the last 6 or 8 years, and it's an entrepreneurial group. It's not an art group at all. I'm the only artist in my group, but there's about 20 or 30 of us, and we meet quarterly in Toronto. And all these people are successful business people in one way or another, and that's why they're in the group. And you start to think about, as you know, as the quarter is coming to an end, you start to think about all the things that you wrote down when you broke into these little breakaway groups and you had these individual discussions, and you go like, oh man, that guy that owns that chain of hotels, he's going to ask me how I did on this project that I said I was working on, you know, last quarter. So I'm going to work on it, because I don't want to be the guy that shows up and says, oh yeah, I just was talking, I didn't really do anything.
Yeah, it's a great idea, but it blew it off.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And you know, it's interesting because you know, Michelle and I have been watching this DVD lesson from this painter, Brian Mark Taylor. Now, in January, we did this painting challenge. This is our third time doing the Strata Easel challenge, where we're painting every day. And Brian Mark Taylor is the guy that sort of hosts that. He's, you know, he's a badass. I mean, his skill set is considerable. And I'm saying this about somebody who's like 15 years younger than me, you know. I try not to let that kind of thing bother me, you know, and I don't. But he points out in his lessons that he has somebody that's essentially his sponsor, an older artist, more established, who he feels like he needs to show this person some kind of progress regularly, talk about what he's trying to do next, and then live up to that. And so, yeah, being in a classroom environment definitely can provide you with that. You know, there's definitely this sense of, okay, I just saw these other artists who I like, and not just artistically, but personally. You know, you've got a great banter every week, and I see how hard they worked. So I want to, this coming week, I want to do something at least impressive as what Bruno just posted, you know, or whatever. And of course, people have got the whole week. You know, we sit down for the exercise. We've got, you know, a very hurried 90 minutes there. And that includes usually 4 very quick thumbnail sketches, 5 minutes. This is really important. Get people loose, get them thinking quickly, get, you know, force them to let go, and talk about the things that we're not doing. We're not going to do a complete perfect line drawing as if you have a client waiting for you, because that's not our goal here. Our goal is that this exercise is about shading or whatever. And then at the end of the day, there's the option to keep going. Say, oh, I like my drawing, but I want to really trick it out. And so then you can spend as many hours as you want on it. And some people have done, you know, stuff that would be good enough that you could easily make a really nice t-shirt out of it or whatever. I mean, very fully realized pieces of art. And then the following Monday night, we start the session by looking at those. Like the people who decided to do this extra credit will spend that first 5-7 minutes kind of reviewing those before we launch into the next one. So that's the people who are working the hardest. You know, we get a chance to see what they're up to. The other thing about these exercises is I am trying to push myself because, again, 33 years in, it's real easy to get habitual. Right. This works. This is the way I do it. This is my equipment. These are my pigments. This is what my clients can expect from me. And that's it. And it works. But if you settle on that kind of a model, you're going to end up in a gradually shrinking world. Right. It's just, there's no way to avoid it. And along with that gradually shrinking world, I think we get, you know, a certain amount of bitterness and burnout and cynicism and all that stuff that comes with it. And can you imagine not loving your job? I mean, a lot of people don't love their job. I love tattooing as much as ever. It's just the perfect fit for me, but that's because I keep making sure that it is, you know, and part of it is I don't want to feel cynical. I don't want to feel left behind. I don't want to feel you know, bitter when I see somebody half my age killing it, you know. In fact, if I see somebody half my age killing it, I would much rather be able to say, hey man, let's get together and collaborate, you know, and maybe I'll learn something from that. And I'm a humble enough person. I like to believe that when I'm sitting side by side with another artist, even if they're half my age, I should be learning as much from them as they're learning from me, or my mind is closed, you know. I'm not doing my job as an artist. So that's what we're doing every Monday night. I'm trying to find something that's not in my comfort zone. And while we're doing our 4 thumbnails, I'll look at them and I'll say, this one I could knock out of the park with my eyes closed. So I'm not going to do that one.
Yeah.
This is too much like my normal thing. So, you know,
Yeah.
and I see the other students doing it too. Like Jason, who leads the groups on Sundays. He announced early in his involvement that he didn't like doing anatomy. Like, okay, we're going to make sure we get a little bit of that here and there.
Yeah.
And I'll make it optional. And every time I've done an exercise where, and if you want, use your hand as and he's like, oh, damn it. Okay, I guess I'm doing the hand. And this is, you know, the mindset of people who are wanting to get better. And that's the people in our group. They have signed up for the purpose of getting better. They're not going to get a certificate for doing nothing. The work by and large is enjoyable, but they're going to have less spare time during this course because they're focusing. And at the end of 48 weeks of being mindful and deliberate about trying to improve yourself, whether you're in a course or not, if that's what your goal is, you're going to get better. So the purpose of this course is just to make sure that people can easily stay on that track. And every week there's a reminder, hey, what are you working on? How's it going? Let's keep going with that.
Yeah.
And I really do love that it's a way for artists to connect either inside of their shop or across shops, right? There's artists that are working with people that don't give a shit. And then there's shops, they all give a shit.
Right.
And, you know, it's awesome to, well, again, to be able to help facilitate that. And ultimately it's those artists that are like stuck without anybody, you know, really teaching them how to get further. You know, you can't teach somebody to tattoo online, but, you know, you're clearly teaching them to tattoo better. And they wouldn't have the opportunity. You know, they're stuck in some place where, I mean, obviously people are empowered. They can travel, they can move if they wanted to.
Yeah.
But for the most part, there's a lot of people that, well, they'll use this to enable themselves to be able to travel. Anyways, I think it's awesome.
They'll start making connections. They'll start getting invitations. But yeah, it's tough. I mean, you know, obviously we've got that old adage, which is, you want to learn a tattoo, get yourself in a shop, get an apprentice, learn the right way. I was lucky enough to get an apprenticeship. I know a lot of people who I consider top of the line tattoo artists who were not so lucky. It wasn't available, or, you know, they had a kid and with an ex and they needed to stay near their kid. So they couldn't just move across the country and still be a good parent, etc. There's usually reasons. And often people aren't ready to just take that plunge and say, okay, I'm going to have an apprenticeship period with no income, because what are they going to do to eat during that time? Right. Not everybody can take that plunge. So hopefully this will help fill in some of those gaps, allow people to connect with other tattooers. You know, I interviewed Steve Butcher a couple of years ago, and he was talking about his learning process, and he is a self-taught artist, and, you know, fucking great. Right. But during his learning process, he managed to connect with some other New Zealand tattooers, and they couldn't take him into the shop necessarily, because that's just the reality. It's like, yeah, we've already got every chair filled, but, you know, he got into conversations with these other artists. He showed his sincerity, and I cannot tell you how important that is. If you're trying to get into tattooing and you show your sincerity, people are going to help you. If they think that you're just like looking for quick fame or whatever, they're going to dismiss you. If your, you know, heart is not in the right place, people can be very protective of tattooing as an institution. And I feel that way too. That doesn't mean I don't want anybody to learn to tattoo. I just want anybody who learns to tattoo to be doing it for the right reasons. Because when that happens, more happily tattooed people are walking around, and it's better for all of us. You know, if tattoos had a bad reputation, everybody that gets tattooed is unhappy about it. Well, guess what would happen? You know, we would all be affected by that reputation. So that's why we feel protective. If somebody is coming in that we think is going to create a local problem, you know, tattoo a bunch of minors and infect them, and, you know, create headlines, you know, generally somebody will make a phone call and shut their ass down, right? We feel protective, and for a good reason. But at the same time, that doesn't mean anytime someone who's showing a lot of potential, who's got great artistic skills, and is showing interest in tattooing, that they should just be pushed away. I don't, you know, agree with that either. People need to be encouraged, but in the right way. And definitely connecting with the larger tattoo community is one of the most important things you can do. Another thing that I've heard said many times, and yes, I 100% agree with this. Sometimes the best thing you can do is save your money, make an appointment with an artist who you really like, go get a tattoo with them. See what their attitude is, feel them out a little bit, say, I'm really interested in tattooing myself, and I've been hoping to learn or whatever. I've been in the learning process, and I was just wondering if when we're done with this, maybe be willing to spend a couple minutes looking at some drawings I've been working on or whatever. And before you know it, and it's not always going to go over well, but let's say you do that 2 or 3 times with 2 or 3 different artists, 2 out of the 3 are going to respond pretty well if you're sincere about it.
Yeah. I've always thought that's one of the better ways to approach an apprenticeship, is to seek out people that you'd like to get tattooed by. And another thing that I feel like has, with the evolution of online learning, your platform, our platform here at Fireside, I think that we've become a nice accessory to a good apprenticeship, because a lot of times being a good tattooer doesn't necessarily make you a great mentor. A lot of times you don't know how to start with someone. Even if you want to be the best mentor you can, there's never really been a blueprint for how to apprentice someone effectively. And I've had a couple of folks, one in particular stands out, a woman named Shelly that runs a tattoo school out in Oregon. And she said that she's used some of our older technique episodes, our 3 Minutes to Better Tattooing episodes. She's like, I've made playlists and clipped a lot of your stuff down. I hope you don't mind, but I use it as like accessory learning for some of our students. It's like, well, that's fantastic that you're able to that you have access to so much more information, and you can kind of curate other people's teaching rather than having it all on your own shoulders.
And you'll get your 3% royalty check every quarter.
Right, exactly. Yeah, of course, she pays me out every week.
I think too that it like if you are looking for an apprenticeship and it is, say, like Kyle or someone new to the industry, it does create a nice clear path as to what type of artist you should be looking for. And it really makes you go on a much more level-headed rather than just swinging at anything you can because out of desperation or what, but to really know what you're looking for in a mentor. Going through something, that's one of the benefits I see of everyone going through. They're becoming better teachers themselves, better able to recognize, good art. So yeah, it's awesome.
Having access, 20 years ago, you couldn't hop online and get access to Guy or to Bob Tyrell or to Ivana or to Renee or to, it just wasn't even possible. So people weren't necessarily talking about you couldn't talk about the moral implications of just learning how to tattoo, from the internets because it didn't exist.
Yeah. And of course that's a rat's nest of moral implications right there. But,
sure.
The most practical answer to that is, I guess what we would call harm reduction, right? Knowing that there's a lot of information and misinformation out there. Just letting it be known that there are places where you can get solid information. And I think when somebody, watches one of Jake's podcasts or tunes into Reinventing, it's obvious that it's coming from a place of experience. These things are well cited. There's a lot of videos out there that are, on YouTube, if you use, how to tattoo, in your description, you can be showing the worst advice possible and you're going to get tens of thousands of views.
And they do hundreds of thousands of views sometimes.
Right. And this is what we're up against. Right. But I remind myself that most of the people who are watching these videos are either going to drop out of tattooing really fast, leave us with a bunch of cover-up shit to do, or they're going to get serious at some point or another. Probably 80% are going to drop out and 20% are going to get serious. And I don't know if there's anything we can do in this day and age to prevent that vetting process from happening on a bunch of unsuspecting people's skin. But you know what? If you go and get tattooed by a drunk guy in their apartment, you really should be shocked.
It's on you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a shared responsibility, right? The tattooer has a responsibility to absolutely always try to do the best tattoo they possibly can, but it's also up to the client to make sure that they're trusting their skin to somebody that is worthy of their trust. And if you get a shitty ass tattoo, it is your fault. It's better to, not I don't want to encourage it, of course.
I want to share my early experiences. I was 16 and pretending to be 18. And getting tattooed at this biker place. And, I made all the dumb mistakes, like hand poking an outline on me and asking what it would cost to have it colored, all the stupid newbie kind of stuff, right? And I think this is one of the reasons why I have found it so easy to be patient with people who are coming in with wrong-headed ideas, because I certainly had plenty of, and I'm Guy Aitchison, right? So if I'm allowed to enter tattooing as a teenager with a whole bunch of wrong-headed ideas, then I just assume that that's kind of normal, that this is, how could you know? Now, of course, these days, there's a lot more stuff. You can be watching TV shows about tattooing and that kind of thing. Back then, we didn't have anything, right? I didn't even know there was such a thing as a tattoo magazine. I didn't even know what a tattoo machine looked like or how it worked, anything, right? So, it was a much different experience at the time. But my thought was, okay, this is a business. These people are professionals. I should be able to bring anything that I have drawn into any qualified professional, and it's going to look exactly like my drawing. Why wouldn't it be that way? Okay, this is the assumption I had coming out the door. It seemed reasonable, but it wasn't until later that the obvious thing occurred to me that, wow, these are human beings with a skill set that is, of varying degrees, some with more and some with less. Aha. You know what I mean? I didn't get that in the beginning. Again, even coming from an artistic background, I was already doing record covers back then at 16. It just didn't occur to me that it really did matter who was holding the tattoo machine and not just that they were a professional. So I try to imagine the bar of ignorance that we have to get people past. And I try to remember my own self and not be judgmental.
Yeah. I think that's that's a good way to think about it. And if you ever search for, I've been doing this, Gabe and I were talking this Neil Patel thing where they show me what kind of keywords we're already ranking for and where we could rank better and Google organic searches and all that. That stuff's kind of interesting to me. And what I find is that most of the keywords or key phrases that I could rank better for are not phrases I would ever use, right? They're not, but because it's coming from a place with less experience than I have. So it's like, okay, I don't want to create some piece of content based around these keywords that I'm embarrassed by because
right.
How's
your tattoo?
Yeah, exactly. But I also find that if we can at least address their question with using their own verbiage, then we really haven't earned the right to teach them anything, So it's a funny place to be and earning attention,
Well, I think within
have to have a keyword heavy paragraph that starts with people often ask questions like these,
right?
And you know what I mean? So you're kind of separating yourself from the responsibility of having said them yourself.
That's good. Yeah. What were you saying, Gabe? Sorry.
I have an idea that we can talk about afterwards. I don't want to.
Okay.
Yeah, we're 20 minutes over, so I'll probably have to wrap fairly soon. Get on with my day.
Awesome. I'm supposed to go make waffles.
Awesome. Guy, do you want to just lay out in black and white how people could sign up for tomorrow, and or ultimately they're going to be signing up for the wait list for the next trimester? But
yes. Okay, so if this sounds interesting to you and you like the idea of being in this weekly course, having a group of fellow students, getting direct feedback, of having a goal for each week, of having a larger scale goal for your whole 48-week course, and you're willing to do the work, our next trimester starts tomorrow. And what that's going to consist of is you're going to get your first dump of chapters, seminars, a bunch of videos, things like that, tattoo challenge. And at the end of the week, we're going to have our goals related critique session. And followed by this every week, you're going to get, I don't know what that hissing sound is. We got a loud.
I don't know. I hear it too.
I bet Gabe making tea.
Oh, no, my mic was off. That's my dog's barking, but.
Okay. Yeah. Who knows what that was, but it stopped, whatever it was. Okay. But anyway, every week you're going to get, all this stuff and all this feedback. So if this sounds interesting to you, if you want to get on tomorrow's trimester, if you're ready to start, reinventingthetattoo.com. Today is our last day of sign up for tomorrow's trimester. Other than that, you would end up on a waiting list. Our next trimester starts 16 weeks from tomorrow. I think actually we're gonna have a 1-week break in between there. But reinventingthetattoo.com, if you click on it at any time that isn't during our enrollment period, you'll get a waiting list where you can sign up there, and you'll get a few interesting info packs from us in the meantime, and some other goodies. If you know anybody in your shop that you think might be interested, or if you work in a studio where you believe the whole crew might be down for trying this out, we actually offer a shop pack, 5 for the price of 4. And we've got a couple of studios on board already, and we're really excited to see, how that goes, how they work with each other, and encourage, because they're going to get a little bit more of that peer encouragement than you would get just from the online experience. So there's that option too, if you work in a studio with other artists that might be interested in growing too. So that's where we're at right now. Final day of sign up for this trimester, but you can always sign up for the next one if you're not ready for this one. If you are ready for this one, we're going to ask you to, this coming week, come up with photos of 3 different tattoos that you think are a good example of where you're at right now. And to submit those, we've got instructions of where to send them in and everything, so that those can be in our Monday night critique, which is going to be happening a week from today.
Actually, a real quick question for apprentices and apprentice types. I imagine that the best artwork in any medium is what you're looking for?
Yes. If you're not tattooing yet, yes, 3 drawings. And that was the other thing we were talking about apprenticeships earlier. Every week, in addition to all the lessons that I listed, there's also an apprentice or fundamentals exercise. That's what we call them. And some of them very basic, like let's shade a sphere kind of things. And of course, the heavier exercises that we do on Monday nights, I'll always suggest simpler and harder variations on them, so people at any point in their learning experience can still join them. But there definitely are things every week that are aimed at people who are in the apprenticeship stage. And if you aren't tattooing yet, the weekly tattoo challenge you can do as a drawing. If you are in a shop and you are apprenticing, speak with your mentor about if they think this program would be good for you in the context of the apprenticeship that you're doing. It would, but of course they have to think that too. And if they like the idea, then perhaps that can become an actual formal part of your apprenticeship on top of whatever floor mopping and stuff that they're having you do. My own apprenticeship, was a little piecemeal. My boss was not a consistent person. He had struggles that sometimes kept him out of the shop. But when he was on point, he was very interested in seeing me do stuff besides just blunder through tattoos. So, okay, here's some Carrie Barber flash, killer drawings. Let's see you color, And then he would give me really solid feedback, like, okay, the shading isn't strong enough. You see how, you look at it from a distance and everything looks kind of fuzzy. Make the shading stronger just in the eagle's body, and that's going to make the rest of it look stronger. And then once I'd done enough of those, he had me draw a whole set of flash, black and white. Then a couple months later, I had to do a whole set of color flash. And yes, these sets of flash are still circulating, and they're kind of entertaining. I won't call them embarrassing because, hey, I was 20. But that was kind of what got me thinking about, the idea that every week we should be drawing something. We should always be drawing something, no matter where we're at in our learning experience. And one of the things I've liked the most about this for my own purpose is no matter what I've got going on my week, no matter how many tattoo clients I've got coming through, or if I happen to be on family vacation or whatever, I'm still going to do a drawing. It's still going to be a challenge. It's still going to be focused on whatever it is that I'm trying to get better at the time. It's going to be quick. It's going to be really, directed at the learning experience. And at the end of it, I should feel like I've pushed myself up that hill another notch, and it does feel that way. So, yeah. If this sounds interesting to you, please come join us.
Yeah, that's exciting. And guys, I didn't link to this if you're watching on the Fireside channel. I don't have a link to this. I do have a link to just the Reinventing the Tattoo, our affiliate link, just to get to Reinventing the Tattoo. And I would imagine you can find your way to this.
Yeah, that might actually be, that's probably the older link. Oh, I don't know.
I bet it is.
Actually,
I bet you're right. I bet you're right. I haven't updated it.
We need to double check it. I think I did communicate with Ali a little bit, but
just to make sure, just go to reinventingthetattoo.com. You'll find it. Or if you're on Instagram, you can open up my profile, click the link in there. That'll take you there too.
Well, it's exciting. I can't wait to hear, how it goes. I wish you all the luck in the world. It sounds like an adventure and probably a lot of work on your end. So good luck.
Yes and no. I mean, it's always a lot of work just keeping up with these things, but we've already been doing so many of these things regularly. I've been doing these exercises, without a break for, year and a half now. And I mean, you know what it's like. You've got your podcast. It's an extra responsibility sometimes, but it is such an important part of completing your week, I think that people learn to, if you start getting into the routine of thinking like somebody who's learning or who's trying to learn, who's trying to get better, you'd feel a void if you didn't have a little something like this every week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I do need to boogie. I've got an interview to facilitate. I'm facilitating an interview with Jay Brown and Mark. We're doing all the history. Yeah. The history recordings are fucking amazing.
Nice.
Excellent.
Tell Jay hi. He's a great guy. He was on one of our Reinventing podcasts a couple months ago.
Yeah, I think he's going to maybe come on a couple more. He's helping with the history. What is it? The history of electric tattooing, modern electric tattooing.
Okay. He's got a lot of cool stuff
for the reinventing. So, just real quick, I guess I got to go. But all the historians have been posting up stuff on Facebook and whatnot. And as we were moving into the new Reinventing learning platform, it was like, wait, we could have a course, right? Mm-hmm. So instead of these posts going off into the Facebook, Never land, we could have a chapter, and we could put all of the posts that are about the specific chapters in there anyway. So we're working on beefing out our.
All that stuff in the same place is valuable.
Yeah,
absolutely. Super. And it's all in Reinventing. Again, these are the free lessons that are on Reinventing. So,
yep, there's a lot of free stuff there too. So yeah, you can go to reinventingthetattoo.com, click on it, and check out the free course as well.
Awesome.
All right. Exciting.
All right. Hey,
great,
everyone.
Great seeing you guys.
Seeing you all. And
thanks again.
Good. Thanks.
Cheers.